Georgia Piscottis, the Georgia Peach, your host with the moose, the gorgeous goat herself. Let's get in here with the Kybalion.
And correspondence, which underlies the many and often quite divergent theories entertained and taught by the occultists of these different lands today. The student of comparative religions will be able to perceive the influence of the Hermetic teachings in every religion worthy of the name, now known to man, whether it be a dead religion or one in full vigor in our own times. There is always certain correspondence in spite of the contradictory features, and the Hermetic teachings act as the great reconciler. The life work of Hermes seems to have been in the direction of planting the great seed truth, which has grown and blossomed in so many strange forms, rather than to establish a school of philosophy which would dominate the world's thought. But, nevertheless, the original truths taught by him have been kept intact in their original purity by a few men each age, who, refusing great numbers of half-developed students and followers, followed the Hermetic custom and reserved their truth for the few who were ready to comprehend and master it. From lip to ear, the truth has been handed down among the few. There have always been a few initiates in each generation in the various lands of the earth who kept alive the sacred flame of the Hermetic teachings, and such have always been willing to use their lamps to relight the lesser lamps of the outside world, when the light of truth grew dim and clouded by reason of neglect, and when the wicks became clogged with foreign matter. There were always a few to tend faithfully the altar of the truth, upon which was kept alight the perpetual lamp of wisdom. These men devoted their lives to the labor of love, which the poet has so well stated in his lines. Oh, let not the flame die out, cherished age after age, in its dark cavern, in its holy temples.
Hold on a minute. Let me get this back up here.
Fed by pure ministers of love, let not the flame die out. These men have never sought popular approval, nor numbers of followers. They are indifferent to these things, for they know how few there are in each generation who are ready for the truth, or who would recognize it if it were presented to them. They reserve the strong meat for men, while others furnish the milk for babes. They reserve their pearls of wisdom for the few elect, who recognize their value and who wear them in their crowns, instead of casting them before the materialistic, vulgar swine, who would trample them in the mud and mix them with their disgusting mental food. But still, these men have never forgotten or overlooked the original teachings of Hermes regarding the passing on of the words of truth to those ready to receive it, which teachings is stated in the Kybalion as follows: where fall the footsteps of the master, the ears of those ready for his teaching open wide. And again, when the ears of the student are ready to hear, then cometh the lips to fill them with wisdom. But their customary attitude has always been strictly in accordance with the other Hermetic aphorism, also in the Kybalion, and which, without such explanation, are non-understandable and defy scientific treatment. An understanding of this great Hermetic principle of mentalism enables the individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental universe and to apply the same to his well-being. And when the wicks became clogged with foreign matter, there were always a few to tend faithfully the altar of the truth. upon which was kept alight the perpetual lamp of wisdom. These men devoted their lives to the labor of love, which the poet has so well stated in his lines. Oh, let not the flame die out, cherished age after age. In its dark cavern, in its holy temple, would bring down upon the teachers a great cry of scorn and revilement from the multitude, who would again raise the cry of, "Crucify, crucify." In this little work, we have endeavored to give you an idea of the fundamental teachings of the Kybalion, striving to give you the working principles, leaving you to apply them yourselves, rather than attempting to work out the teaching in detail. If you are a true student, you will be able to work out and apply these principles. If not, then you must develop yourself into one, for otherwise the Hermetic teachings will be as words, words, words to you. The three initiates. Chapter 1. The Hermetic Philosophy. Lips of wisdom are closed, except to the ears of understanding. The Kybalion. From old Egypt have come the fundamental esoteric and occult teachings, which have so strongly influenced the philosophies of all races, nations, and peoples for several thousand years. Egypt, the home of the pyramids and the Sphinx, was the birthplace of the hidden wisdom and mystic teachings. From her secret doctrine, all nations have borrowed. India, Persia, Chaldea, Media, China, Japan, Assyria, ancient Greece and Rome, and other ancient countries partook liberally at the feast of knowledge, which the Hierophants and masters of the land of Isis so freely provided for those who came prepared to partake of the great store of mystic and occult lore which the masterminds of that ancient land had gathered together. In ancient Egypt dwelt the great adepts and masters who have never been surpassed, and who seldom have been equaled during the centuries that have taken their processional flight since the days of the great Hermes. In Egypt was located the great lodge of lodges of the mystics. At the doors of her temples entered the neophytes, who afterward, as hierophants, adepts, and masters, traveled to the four corners of the earth, carrying with them the precious knowledge which they were ready, anxious, and willing to pass on to those who were ready to receive the same. All students of the occult recognize the debt that they owe to these venerable masters of that ancient land. But among those great masters of ancient Egypt, there once dwelt one of whom masters hailed as the Master of Masters. This man, if man indeed he was, dwelt in Egypt in the earliest days. He was known as Hermes Trismegistus. He was the father of the occult wisdom, the founder of astrology, the discoverer of alchemy. The details of his life story are lost to history, owing to the lapse of the years, though several of the ancient countries disputed with each other in their claims to the honor of having furnished his birthplace, and this thousands of years ago. The date of his sojourn in Egypt, in that his last incarnation on this planet, is not now known, but it has been fixed at the early days of the oldest dynasties of Egypt, long before the days of Moses. The best authorities regard him as a contemporary of Abraham, and some of the Jewish traditions go so far as to claim that Abraham acquired a portion of his mystic knowledge from Hermes himself. As the years rolled by after his passing from this plane of life, tradition recording that he lived 300 years in the flesh, the Egyptians deified Hermes and made him one of their gods, under the name of Thoth. Years later, the people of ancient Greece also made him one of their many gods, calling him Hermes, the god of wisdom. The Egyptians revered his memory for many centuries, yes, tens of centuries, calling him the scribe of the gods, and bestowing upon him distinctively his ancient title Trismegistus, which means the thrice great, the great great, the greatest great, etc. In all the ancient lands, the name of Hermes Trismegistus was revered, the name being synonymous with the fount of wisdom. Even to this day, we use the term hermetic in the sense of secret, sealed so that nothing can escape, etc. And this by reason of the fact that the followers of Hermes always observed the principle of secrecy in their teachings. They did not believe in casting pearls before swine, but rather held to the teaching, milk for babes, meat for strong men, both of which maxims are familiar to readers of the Christian scriptures, but both of which had been used by the Egyptians for centuries before the Christian era. And this policy of careful dissemination of the truth has always characterized the Hermetics, even unto the present day. The Hermetic teachings are to be found in all lands, among all religions, but never identified with any particular country, nor with any particular religious sect. This is because of the warning of the ancient teachers against allowing the secret doctrine to become crystallized into a creed. The wisdom of this caution is apparent to all students of history. The ancient occultism of India and Persia degenerated and was largely lost, owing to the fact that the teachers became priests, and so mixed theology with the philosophy, the result being that the occultism of India and Persia has been gradually lost amidst the mass of religious superstition, cults, creeds, and gods. So it was with ancient Greece and Rome. So it was with the Hermetic teachings of the Gnostics and early Christians, which were lost at the time of Constantine, whose iron hand smothered philosophy with the blanket of theology, losing to the Christian Church that which was its very essence and spirit, and causing it to grope throughout several centuries before it found the way back to its ancient faith. The indications apparent to all careful observers in this 20th century being that the Church is now struggling to get back to its ancient mystic teachings. But there were always a few faithful souls who kept alive the flame, tending it carefully and not allowing its light to become extinguished. And thanks to these staunch hearts and fearless minds, we have the truth still with us. But it is not found in books to any great extent. It has been passed along from master to student, from initiate to hierophant, from lip to ear. When it was written down at all, its meaning was veiled in terms of alchemy and astrology, so that only those possessing the key could read it aright. This was made necessary in order to avoid the persecutions of the theologians of the Middle Ages, who fought the secret doctrine with fire and sword, stake, gibbet, and cross. Even to this day, there will be found but few reliable books on the Hermetic philosophy, although there are countless references to it in many books written on various phases of occultism. And yet the Hermetic philosophy is the only master key which will open all the doors of the occult teachings. In the early days, there was a compilation of certain basic Hermetic doctrines, passed on from teacher to student, which was known as the Kybalion, the exact significance and meaning of the term having been lost for centuries. This teaching, however, is known to many to whom it has descended, from mouth to ear, on and on throughout the centuries. Its precepts have never been written down or printed, so far as we know. It was merely a collection of maxims, axioms, and precepts, which were non-understandable to outsiders, but which were readily understood by students after the axioms, maxims, and precepts had been explained and exemplified by the Hermetic initiates to their neophytes. These teachings really constituted the basic principles of the art of Hermetic alchemy, which, contrary to the general belief, dealt in the mastery of mental forces rather than the material elements, the transmutation of one kind of mental vibrations into others, instead of the changing of one kind of metal into another. The legends of the Philosopher's Stone, which would turn base metal into gold, was an allegory relating to Hermetic philosophy, readily understood by all students of true Hermeticism. In this little book, of which is the first lesson, we invite our students to examine into the Hermetic teachings as set forth in the Kybalion and as explained by ourselves, humble students of the teachings, who, while bearing the title of initiates, are still students at the feet of Hermes, the Master. We herein give you many of the maxims, axioms, and precepts of the Kybalion, accompanied by explanations and illustrations, which we deem likely to render the teachings more easily comprehended by the modern student, particularly as the original text is purposely veiled in obscure terms. The original maxims, axioms, and precepts of the Kybalion are printed herein in italics, the proper credit being given. Our own work is printed in the regular way, in the body of the work. We trust that the many students to whom we now offer this little work will derive as much benefit from the study of its pages as have the many who have gone on before, treading the same path to mastery throughout the centuries that have passed since the times of Hermes Trismegistus, the Master of Masters, the Great. In the words of the Kybalion, where fall the footsteps of the Master, the ears of those ready for his teaching open wide. The Kybalion. When the ears of the student are ready to hear, then cometh the lips to fill them with wisdom. The Kybalion. So that according to the teachings, the passage of this book to those ready for the instruction will attract the attention of such as are prepared to receive the teaching. And, likewise, when the pupil is ready to receive the truth, then will this little book come to him or her. Such is the law. The Hermetic principle of cause and effect, in its aspect of the law of attraction, will bring lips and ear together, pupil and book in company. So, mote it be. Chapter 2. The 7 Hermetic Principles. Principles of truth are 7. He who knows these, understandingly, possess the magic key, before whose touch all the doors of the temple fly open. The Kybalion. 7 Hermetic principles, upon which the entire Hermetic philosophy is based, are as follows. 1. The principle of mentalism. 2. The principle of correspondence. 3. The principle of vibration. 4. The principle of polarity. 5. The principle of rhythm. 6. The principle of cause and effect.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm
7.
Put them
The principle of gender.
The wire.
These 7 principles will be discussed and explained as we proceed with these lessons. A short explanation of each, however, may as well be given at this point. 1. The principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. The Kybalion. This principle embodies the truth that all is mind. It explains that the all, which is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the terms of the material universe, the phenomena of life, matter, energy, and, in short, all that is apparent to our material senses, is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as an universal, infinite, living mind. It also explains that all the phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the laws of created things, and that the universe as a whole and in its parts or units has its existence in the mind of the all, in which mind we live and move and have our being. This principle, by establishing the mental nature of the universe, easily explains all of the varied mental and psychic phenomena that occupy such a large portion of the public attention, and which, without such explanation, are non-understandable and defy scientific treatment. An understanding of this great hermetic principle of mentalism enables the individual to readily grasp the laws of the mental universe and to apply the same to his well-being and advancement. The hermetic student is enabled to apply intelligently the great mental laws, instead of using them in a haphazard manner. With the master key in his possession, the student may unlock the many doors of the mental and psychic temple of knowledge, and enter the same freely and intelligently. This principle explains the true nature of energy, power, and matter, and why and how all these are subordinate to the mastery of mind. One of the old Hermetic masters wrote, long ages ago, "He who grasps the truth of the mental nature of the universe is well advanced on the path to mastery." And these words are as true today as at the time they were first written. Without this master key, mastery is impossible, and the student knocks in vain at the many doors of the temple. 2. The principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. The Kybalion. This principle embodies the truth that there is always a correspondence between the laws and phenomena of the various planes of being and life. The old Hermetic axiom ran in these words: as above, so below. As below, so above. And the grasping of this principle gives one the means of solving many a dark paradox and hidden secret of nature. There are planes beyond our knowing, but when we apply the principle of correspondence to them, we are able to understand much that would otherwise be unknowable to us. This principle is of universal application and manifestation on the various planes of the material, mental, and spiritual universe. It is an universal law. The ancient Hermetists considered this principle as one of the most important mental instruments by which man was able to pry aside the obstacles which hid from view the unknown. Its use even tore aside the veil of Isis, to the extent that a glimpse of the face of the goddess might be caught. Just as a knowledge of the principles of geometry enables a man to measure distant suns and their movements while seated in his observatory, so a knowledge of the principle of correspondence enables man to reason intelligently from the known to the unknown. Studying the monad, he understands the archangel. 3. The principle of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. The Kybalion. This principle embodies the truth that everything is in motion. Everything vibrates. Nothing is at rest. Facts which modern science endorses and which each new scientific discovery tends to verify. And yet this Hermetic principle was enunciated thousands of years ago by the masters of ancient Egypt. This principle explains that the differences between different manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit result largely from varying rates of vibration. From the all, which is pure spirit, down to the grossest form of matter, all is in vibration. The higher the vibration, the higher the position in the scale. The vibration of spirit is at such an infinite rate of intensity and rapidity that it is practically at rest, just as a rapidly moving wheel seems to be motionless. And at the other end of the scale, there are gross forms of matter whose vibrations are so low as to seem at rest. Between these poles, there are millions upon millions of varying degrees of vibration, from corpuscle and electron, atom and molecule, to worlds and universes. Everything is in vibratory motion. This is also true on the planes of energy and force, which are but varying degrees of vibration, and also on the mental planes, whose states depend upon vibrations, and even onto the spiritual planes. An understanding of this principle with the appropriate formulas enables Hermetic students to control their own mental vibrations as well as those of others. The masters also apply this principle to the conquering of natural phenomena in various ways. He who understands the principle of vibration has grasped the scepter of power, says one of the old writers. 4. The principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The Kybalion.
Boy, I'm trying to kill a
This
damn
principle
fly.
embodies the truth
It goes
that
to let them damn
everything
flies just
is
be
dual.
buzzing around, but I'm
Everything
catching that
has
little
two
bug.
poles. Everything has its pair of opposites,
You all right today,
all of
love?
which were old Hermetic axioms. It explains the old paradoxes that have perplexed so many, which have been stated as follows. Thesis and antithesis are identical in nature, but different in degree. Opposites are the same, differing only in degree. The pairs of opposites may be reconciled. Extremes meet. Everything is and isn't at the same time. All truths are but half-truths. Every truth is half false. There are two sides to everything, etc., etc., etc. It explains that in everything there are two poles or opposite aspects, and that opposites are really only the two extremes of the same thing, with many varying degrees between them. To illustrate, heat and cold, although opposites, are really the same thing, the differences consisting merely of degrees of the same thing. Look at your thermometer and see if you can discover where heat terminates and cold begins. There is no such thing as absolute heat or absolute cold. The two terms, heat and cold, simply indicate varying degrees of the same thing, and that same thing, which manifests as heat and cold, is merely a form, variety, and rate of vibration. So, heat and cold are simply the two poles of that which we call heat, and the phenomena attendant thereupon are manifestations of the principle of polarity. The same principle manifests in the case of light and darkness, which are the same thing. The difference consisting of varying degrees between the two poles of the phenomena. Where does darkness leave off and light begin? What is the difference between large and small, between hard and soft, between black and white, between sharp and dull, between noise and quiet, between high and low, between positive and negative? The principle of polarity explains these paradoxes, and no other principle can supersede it. The same principle operates on the mental plane. Let us take a radical and extreme example, that of love and hate. Two mental states apparently totally different. And yet there are degrees of hate and degrees of love, and a middle point in which we use the terms like or dislike, which shade into each other so gradually that sometimes we are at a loss to know whether we like or dislike, or neither. And all are simply degrees of the same thing, as you will see, if you will but think a moment. And more than this, and considered of more importance by the Hermetists, it is possible to change the vibrations of hate to the vibrations of love in one's own mind and in the minds of others. Many of you who read these lines have had personal experiences of the involuntary rapid transition from love to hate, and the reverse, in your own case and that of others, and you will therefore realize the possibility of this being accomplished by the use of the will, by means of the Hermetic formulas. Good and evil are but the poles of the same thing, and the Hermetist understands the art of transmuting evil into good, by means of an application of the principle of polarity. In short, the art of polarization becomes a phase of mental alchemy, known and practiced by the ancient and modern Hermetic masters, An understanding of the principle will enable one to change his own polarity, as well as that of others, if he will devote the time and study necessary to master the art. 5. The principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. The Kybalion. This principle embodies the truth that in everything there is manifested a measured motion, to and fro, a flow and inflow, a swing backward and forward, a pendulum-like movement, a tide-like ebb and flow, a high tide and low tide. Between the two poles which exist in accordance with the principle of polarity described a moment ago, there is always an action and a reaction, an advance and a retreat, a rising and a sinking. This is in the affairs of the universe, suns, worlds, men, animals, mind, energy, and matter. This law is manifest in the creation and destruction of worlds, in the rise and fall of nations, in the life of all things, and finally, in the mental states of man. And it is with this latter that the Hermetists find the understanding of the principle most important. The Hermetists have grasped this principle, finding its universal application, and have also discovered certain means to overcome its effects in themselves by the use of the appropriate formulas and methods. They apply the mental law of neutralization. They cannot annul the principle or cause it to cease its operation, but they have learned how to escape its effects upon themselves to a certain degree, depending upon the mastery of the principle. They have learned how to use it instead of being used by it. In this and similar methods consists the art of the Hermetists. The master of Hermetics polarizes himself at the point at which he desires to rest, and then neutralizes the rhythmic swing of the pendulum, which would tend to carry him to the other pole. All individuals who have attained any degree of self-mastery do this to a certain degree, more or less unconsciously, but the master does this consciously and by the use of his will, and attains a degree of poise and mental firmness almost impossible of belief on the part of the masses, who are swung backward and forward like a pendulum. This principle and that of polarity have been closely studied by the Hermetists, and the methods of counteracting, neutralizing, and using them form an important part of the Hermetic mental alchemy. 6. The principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. The Kybalion. This principle embodies the fact that there is a cause for every effect, an effect from every cause. It explains that everything happens according to law, that nothing ever merely happens, that there is no such thing as chance, that while there are various planes of cause and effect, the higher dominating the lower planes, still nothing ever entirely escapes the law. The Hermetists understand the art and methods of rising above the ordinary plane of cause and effect to a certain degree, and by mentally rising to a higher plane, they become causers instead of effects. The masses of people are carried along, obedient to environment, the wills and desires of others stronger than themselves, heredity, suggestion, and other outward causes moving about them like pawns on the chessboard of life. But the masters, rising to the plane above, dominate their moods, characters, qualities, and powers, as well as the environment surrounding them, and become movers instead of pawns. They help to play the game of life instead of being played and moved about by other wills and environment. They use the principle instead of being its tools. The masters obey the causation of the higher planes, but they help to rule on their own plane. In this statement, there is considered a wealth of hermetic knowledge. Let him read who can. 7. The principle of gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. The Kybalion. This principle embodies the truth that there is gender manifested in everything, the masculine and feminine principles ever at work. This is true not only of the physical plane, but of the mental and even the spiritual planes. On the physical plane, the principle manifests as sex. On the higher planes, it takes higher forms, but the principle is ever the same. No creation, physical, mental, or spiritual, is possible without this principle. An understanding of its laws will throw light on many a subject that has perplexed the minds of men. The principle of gender works ever in the direction of generation, regeneration, and creation. Everything and every person contains the two elements or principles, or this great principle, within it, him or her. Every male thing has the female element also. Every female contains also the male principle. If you would understand the philosophy of mental and spiritual creation, generation, and regeneration, you must understand and study this hermetic principle. It contains the solution of many mysteries of life. We caution you that this principle has no reference to the many base, pernicious, and degrading lustful theories, teachings, and practices which are taught under fanciful titles, and which are a prostitution of the great natural principle of gender. Such base revivals of the ancient infamous forms of phallicism tend to ruin mind, body, and soul, and the Hermetic philosophy has ever sounded the warning note against these degraded teachings, which tend towards lust, licentiousness, and perversion of nature's principles. If you seek such teachings, you must go elsewhere for them. Hermeticism contains nothing for you along these lines. To the pure, all things are pure. To the base, all things are base. Chapter 3. Mental Transmutation. Mind, as well as metals and elements, may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. True hermetic transmutation is a mental art. The Kybalion. As we have stated, the Hermetists were the original alchemists, astrologers, and psychologists, Hermes having been the founder of these schools of thought. From astrology has grown modern astronomy. From alchemy has grown modern chemistry. From the mystic psychology has grown the modern psychology of the schools. But it must not be supposed that the ancients were ignorant of that which the modern schools suppose to be their exclusive and special property. The records engraved on the stones of ancient Egypt show conclusively that the ancients had a full comprehensive knowledge of astronomy. The very building of the pyramids showing the connection between their design and the study of astronomical science. Nor were they ignorant of chemistry, for the fragments of the ancient writings show that they were acquainted with the chemical properties of things. In fact, the ancient theories regarding physics are being slowly verified by the latest discoveries of modern science, notably those relating to the constitution of matter. Nor must it be supposed that they were ignorant of the so-called modern discoveries in psychology. On the contrary, the Egyptians were especially skilled in the science of psychology, particularly in the branches that the modern schools ignore, but which, nevertheless, are being uncovered under the name of psychic science, which is perplexing the psychologists of today and making them reluctantly admit that there may be something in it after all. The truth is that beneath the material chemistry, astronomy, and psychology, that is, the psychology in its phase of brain action, the ancients possessed a knowledge of transcendental astronomy, called astrology, of transcendental chemistry, called alchemy, of transcendental psychology, called mystic psychology. They possessed the inner knowledge as well as the outer knowledge, the latter alone being possessed by modern scientists. Among the many secret branches of knowledge possessed by the Hermetists was that known as mental transmutation, which forms the subject matter of this lesson. Transmutation is a term usually employed to designate the ancient art of the transmutation of metals, particularly of the base metals into gold. The word transmute means to change from one nature, form, or substance into another, to transform. Webster. And accordingly, mental transmutation means the art of changing and transforming mental states, forms, and conditions into others. So you may see that mental transmutation is the art of mental chemistry, if you like the term, a form of practical mystic psychology. But this means far more than appears on the surface. Transmutation, alchemy, or chemistry on the mental plane is important enough in its effects, to be sure, and if the art stopped there, it would still be one of the most important branches of study known to man. But this is only the beginning. Let us see why. The first of the 7 Hermetic principles is the principle of mentalism, the axiom of which is, the all is mind, the universe is mental, which means that the underlying reality of the universe is mind, and the universe itself is mental, that is, existing in the mind of the all. We shall consider this principle in succeeding lessons, but let us see the effect of the principle if it be assumed to be true. If the universe is mental in its nature, then mental transmutation must be the art of changing the conditions of the universe along the lines of matter, force, and mind. So you see, therefore, that mental transmutation is really the magic of which the ancient writers had so much to say in their mystical works, and about which they gave so few practical instructions. If all be mental, then the art which enables one to transmute mental conditions must render the master the controller of material conditions as well as those ordinarily called mental. As a matter of fact, none but advanced mental alchemists have been able to attain the degree of power necessary to control the grosser physical conditions, such as the control of the elements of nature, the production or cessation of tempests, the production and cessation of earthquakes and other great physical phenomena. But that such men have existed, and do exist today, is a matter of earnest belief to all advanced occultists of all schools. The masters exist, and have these powers. The best teachers assure their students, having had experiences which justify them in such belief and statements. These masters do not make public exhibitions of their powers, but seek seclusion from the crowds of men in order to better their work along the path of attainment. We mention their existence at this point merely to call your attention to the fact that their power is entirely mental and operates along the lines of the higher mental transmutation under the Hermetic principle of mentalism. The universe is mental. The Kybalion. But students and Hermetists of lesser degree than masters, the initiates and teachers, are able to freely work along the mental plane in mental transmutation. In fact, all that we call psychic phenomena, mental influence, mental science, new thought phenomena, etc., operates along the same general lines. For there is but one principle involved, no matter by what name the phenomena be called. The student and practitioner of mental transmutation works among the mental plane, transmuting mental conditions, states, etc., into others, according to various formulas, more or less efficacious. The various treatments, affirmations, denials, etc., of the schools of mental science are but formulas, often quite imperfect and unscientific, of the Hermetic art. The majority of modern practitioners are quite ignorant compared to the ancient masters, for they lack the fundamental knowledge upon which the work is based. Not only may the mental states, etc., of oneself be changed or transmuted by hermetic methods, but also the states of others may be, and are, constantly transmuted in the same way, usually unconsciously, but often consciously by some understanding the laws and principles, in cases where the people affected are not informed of the principles of self-protection. And more than this, as many students and practitioners of modern mental science know, every material condition depending upon the minds of other people may be changed or transmuted in accordance with the earnest desire, will, and treatments of persons desiring changed conditions of life. The public are so generally informed regarding these things at present that we do not deem it necessary to mention the same at length, our purpose at this point being merely to show the hermetic principle and art underlying all of these various forms of practice, good and evil, for the force can be used in opposite directions according to the hermetic principles of polarity. In this little book, we shall state the basic principles of mental transmutation, that all who read may grasp the underlying principles, and thus possess the master key that will unlock the many doors of the principle of polarity. We shall now proceed to a consideration of the first of the Hermetic 7 principles, the principle of mentalism, in which is explained the truth that the all is mind, the universe is mental, in the words of the Kybalion. We ask the close attention and careful study of this great principle on the part of our students, for it is really the basic principle of the whole Hermetic philosophy and of the Hermetic art of mental transmutation. Chapter 4. The All. Under and back of the universe of time, space, and change is ever to be found the substantial reality, the fundamental truth. The Kybalion. Substance means that which underlies all outward manifestations, the essence, the essential reality, the thing in itself, etc. Substantial means actually existing, being the essential element, being real, etc. Reality means the state of being real, true, enduring, valid, fixed, permanent, actual, etc. Under and behind all outward appearances or manifestations, there must always be a substantial reality. This is the law. Man, considering the universe, of which he is a unit, sees nothing but change in matter, forces, and mental states. He sees that nothing really is, but that everything is becoming and changing. Nothing stands still. Everything is being born, growing, dying. The very instant a thing reaches its height, it begins to decline. The law of rhythm is in constant operation. There is no reality, enduring quality, fixity, or substantiality in anything. Nothing is permanent but change. He sees all things evolving from other things and resolving into other things. Constant action and reaction, inflow and outflow, building up and tearing down, creation and destruction, birth, growth, and death. Nothing endures but change. And if he be a thinking man, he realizes that all of these changing things must be but outward appearances or manifestations of some underlying power, some substantial reality. All thinkers in all lands and in all times have assumed the necessity for postulating the existence of this substantial reality. All philosophies worthy of the name have been based upon this thought. Men have given to this substantial reality many names. Some have called it by the name of deity under many titles. Others have called it the infinite and eternal energy. Others have tried to call it matter, but all have acknowledged its existence. It is self-evident. It needs no argument. In these lessons, we have followed the example of some of the world's greatest thinkers, both ancient and modern, the Hermetic masters, and have called this underlying power, this substantial reality, by the Hermetic name of the All. which term we consider the most comprehensive of the many terms applied by man to that which transcends names and terms. We accept and teach the view of the great Hermetic thinkers of all times, as well as of those illumined souls who have reached higher planes of being, both of whom assert that the inner nature of the All is unknowable. This must be so, for naught, by the All itself, can comprehend its own nature and being. The Hermetists believe and teach that the All, in itself, is and must ever be unknowable. They regard all the theories, guesses, and speculations of the theologians and metaphysicians regarding the inner nature of the All as but the childish efforts of mortal minds to grasp the secret of the infinite. Such efforts have always failed and will always fail, from the very nature of the task. One pursuing such inquiries travels around and around in the labyrinth of thought until he is lost to all sane reasoning, action, or conduct, and is utterly unfitted for the work of life. He is like the squirrel which frantically runs around and around the circling treadmill wheel of his cage, traveling ever and yet reaching nowhere. At the end, a prisoner still, and standing just where he started. And still more presumptuous are those who attempt to ascribe to the All the personality, qualities, properties, characteristics, and attributes of themselves, ascribing to the All the human emotions, feelings, and characteristics, even down to the pettiest qualities of mankind, such as jealousy, susceptibility to flattery and praise, desire for offerings and worship, and all the other survivals from the days of the childhood of the race. Such ideas are not worthy of grown men and women, and are rapidly being discarded. At this point, it may be proper for me to state that we make a distinction between religion and theology, between philosophy and metaphysics. Religion, to us, means that intuitional realization of the existence of the All and one's relationship to it, while theology means the attempts of men to ascribe personality, qualities, and characteristics to it, their theories regarding its affairs, will, desires, plans, and designs, and their assumption of the office of middlemen between the All and the people. Philosophy, to us, means the inquiry after knowledge of things knowable and thinkable, while metaphysics means the attempt to carry the inquiry over and beyond the boundaries into regions unknowable and unthinkable, and with the same tendency as that of theology. And consequently, both religion and philosophy mean to us things having roots in reality, while theology and metaphysics seem like broken reeds, rooted in the quicksands of ignorance, and affording naught but the most insecure support for the mind or soul of man. We do not insist upon our students accepting these definitions. We mention them merely to show our position. At any rate, you shall hear very little about theology and metaphysics in these lessons. But while the essential nature of the All is unknowable, there are certain truths connected with its existence which the human mind finds itself compelled to accept. And an examination of these reports from a proper subject of inquiry, particularly as they agree with the reports of the illumined on higher planes. And to this inquiry, we now invite you. That which is the fundamental truth, the substantial reality, is beyond true naming, but the wise men call it the All, the Kybalion. In its essence, the All is unknowable, the Kybalion. But the report of reason must be hospitably received and treated with respect. The Kybalion. The human reason, whose reports we must accept so long as we think at all, informs us as following regarding the All, and that without attempting to remove the veil of the unknowable. 1. The All must be all that really is. There can be nothing existing outside of the All, else the All would not be the All. 2. The All must be infinite, for there is nothing else to define, confine, bound, limit, or restrict the All. It must be infinite in time, or eternal. It must have always continuously existed, For there is nothing else to have ever created it, and something can never evolve from nothing. And if it had ever not been, even for a moment, it would not be now. It must continuously exist forever, for there is nothing to destroy it, and it can never not be, even for a moment, because something can never become nothing. It must be infinite in space. It must be everywhere. For there is no place outside of the all. It cannot be otherwise than continuous in space, without break, cessation, separation, or interruption. For there is nothing to break, separate, or interrupt its continuity, and nothing with which to fill in the gaps. It must be infinite in power, or absolute, for there is nothing to limit, restrict, restrain, confine, disturb, or condition it. It is subject to no other power, for there is no other power. 3. The all must be immutable or not subject to change in its real nature, for there is nothing to work changes upon it, nothing into which it could change, nor from which it could have changed. It cannot be added to, nor subtracted from, increased nor diminished, nor become greater or lesser in any respect whatsoever. It must have always been, and must always remain, just what it is now. The all. There has never been, is not now, and never will be, anything else into which it can change. The all, being infinite, absolute, eternal, and unchangeable, it must follow that anything finite, changeable, fleeting, and conditioned cannot be the all. And as there is nothing outside of the all, in reality, then any and all such finite things must be as nothing in reality. Now, do not become befogged nor frightened. We are not trying to lead you into the Christian Science field under cover of Hermetic philosophy. There is a reconciliation of this apparently contradictory state of affairs. Be patient. We will reach it in time. We see around us that which is called matter, which foundations for all forms. Is the all merely matter? Not at all. Matter cannot manifest life or mind. And as life and mind are manifested in the universe, the all cannot be matter, for nothing rises higher than its own source. Nothing is ever manifested in an effect that is not in the cause. Nothing is evolved as a consequent that is not involved as an antecedent. And then, modern science informs us that there is really no such thing as matter, that what we call matter is merely interrupted energy or force. That is, energy or force at a low rate of vibration. As a recent writer has said, matter has melted into mystery. Even material science has abandoned the theory of matter and now rests on the basis of energy. Then is the all mere energy or force? Not energy or force as the materialists use the terms, for their energy and force are blind, mechanical things, devoid of life or mind. Life and mind can never evolve from blind energy or force, for the reason given a moment ago. Nothing can rise higher than its source. Nothing is evolved unless it is involved. Nothing manifests in the effect unless it is in the cause. And so the all cannot be mere energy or force, for if it were, then there would be no such things as life and mind in existence. And we know better than that, for we are alive and using mind to consider this very question. And so are those who claim that energy or force is everything. What is there, then, higher than matter or energy that we know to be existent in the universe? Life and mind. Life and mind in all their varying degrees of unfoldment. Then, you ask, do you mean to tell us that the all is life and mind? Yes and no is our answer. If you mean life and mind, as we poor petty mortals know them, we say no. The all is not that. But what kind of life and mind do you mean, you ask? The answer is living mind, as far above that which mortals know by those words, as life and mind are higher than mechanical forces, or matter. Infinite living mind as compared to finite life and mind. We mean that which the illumined souls mean when they reverently pronounce the word spirit. The all is infinite living mind. The illumined call it spirit. Chapter 5. The Mental Universe. The universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. The Kybalion. The all is spirit. But what is spirit? This question cannot be answered for the reason that its definition is practically that of the all, which cannot be explained or defined. Spirit is simply a name that men give to the highest conception of infinite living mind. It means the real essence. It means living mind, as much superior to life and mind as we know them, as the latter are superior to mechanical energy and matter. Spirit transcends our understanding, and we use the term merely that we may think or speak of the all. For the purposes of thought and understanding, we are justified in thinking of spirit as infinite living mind, at the same time acknowledging that we cannot fully understand it. We must either do this or stop thinking of the matter at all. Let us now proceed to a consideration of the nature of the universe, as a whole and in its parts. What is the universe? We have seen that there can be nothing outside of the all. Then is the universe the all? No, this cannot be, because the universe seems to be made up of many and is constantly changing, and in other ways it does not measure up to the ideas that we are compelled to accept regarding the all, as stated in our last lesson. Then if the universe be not the all, then it must be nothing. Such is the inevitable conclusion of the mind at first thought. But this will not satisfy the question, for we are sensible of the existence of the universe. Then if the universe is neither the all nor nothing, what can it be? Let us examine this question. If the universe exists at all, or seems to exist, it must proceed in some way from the all. It must be a creation of the all. But as something can never come from nothing, from what could the all have created it? Some philosophers have answered this question by saying that the all created the universe from itself, that is, from the being and substance of the all. But this will not do, for the all cannot be subtracted from, nor divided, as we have seen. And then again, if this be so, would not each particle in the universe be aware of its being the all? The all could not lose its knowledge of itself, nor actually become an atom, or blind force, or lowly living thing. Some men, indeed, realizing that the all is indeed all, and also recognizing that they, the men, existed, have jumped to the conclusion that they and the all were identical, and they have filled the air with shouts of, "I am God," to the amusement of the multitude and the sorrow of sages. The claim of the corpuscle that "I am man" would be modest in comparison. But what indeed is the universe if it be not the all, not yet created by the all having separated itself into fragments? What else can it be? Of what else can it be made? This is the great question. Let us examine it carefully. We find here that the principle of correspondence, see Lesson 1, comes to our aid here. The old Hermetic axiom, as above, so below, may be pressed into service at this point. Let us endeavor to get a glimpse of the workings on higher planes by examining those on our own. The principle of correspondence must apply to this as well as to other problems. Let us see, on his own plane of being, how does man create? Well, first he may create by making something out of outside materials. But this will not do, for there are no materials outside of the all with which it may create. Well, then secondly, man procreates or reproduces his kind by the process of begetting, which is self-multiplication, accomplished by transferring a portion of his substance to his offspring. But this will not do, because the all cannot transfer or subtract a portion of itself. nor can it reproduce or multiply itself. In the first place, there would be a taking away, and in the second case, a multiplication or addition to the all, both thoughts being an absurdity. Is there no third way in which man creates? Yes, there is. He creates mentally, and in so doing, he uses no outside materials, nor does he reproduce himself, and yet his spirit pervades the mental creation. Following the principle of correspondence, we are justified in considering that the all creates the universe mentally, in a manner akin to the process whereby man creates mental images. And here is where the report of reason tallies precisely with the report of the illumined, as shown by their teachings and writings. Such are the teachings of the wise men. Such was the teaching of Hermes. The all can create in no other way except mentally, without either using material, and there is none to use, or else reproducing itself, which is also impossible. There is no escape from this conclusion of the reason, which, as we have said, agrees with the highest teachings of the illumined. Just as you, student, may create a universe of your own in your mentality, so does the all create universes in its own mentality. But your universe is the mental creation of a finite mind, whereas that of the all is the creation of an infinite. The two are similar in kind, but definitely different in degree. We shall examine more closely into the process of creation and manifestation as we proceed, but this is the point to fix in your minds at this stage. The universe, and all it contains, is a mental creation of the all. Verily, indeed, all is mind. The all creates, in its infinite mind, countless universes, which exist for aeons of time. And yet, to the all, the creation, development, decline, and death of 1,000,000 universes is as the time of the twinkling of an eye. The Kybalion. Infinite mind of the all is the womb of universes. The Kybalion. Principle of gender, see Lesson 1 and other lessons to follow, is manifested on all planes of life, material, mental, and spiritual. But, as we have said before, gender does not mean sex. Sex is merely a material manifestation of gender. Gender means relating to generation or creation, and whenever anything is generated or created, on any plane, the principle of gender must be manifested, and this is true even in the creation of universes. Now, do not jump to the conclusion that we are teaching that there is a male and female God or creator. That idea is merely a distortion of the ancient teachings on the subject. The true teaching is that the all in itself is above gender, as it is above every other law, including those of time and space. It is the law from which the laws proceed, and it is not subject to them. But when the all manifests on the plane of generation or creation, then it acts according to law and principle, for it is moving on a lower plane of being, and consequently, it manifests the principle of gender in its masculine and feminine aspects, on the mental plane, of course. This idea may seem startling to some of you who hear it for the first time, but you have all really passively accepted it in your everyday conceptions. You speak of the fatherhood of God and the motherhood of nature, of God, the divine Father, and nature, the universal mother, and have thus instinctively acknowledged the principle of gender in the universe. Is this not so? But the Hermetic teaching does not imply a real duality. The all is one. The two aspects are merely aspects of manifestation. The teaching is that the masculine principle manifested by the all stands, in a way, apart from the actual mental creation of the universe. It projects its will toward the feminine principle, which may be called nature, whereupon the latter begins the actual work of the evolution of the universe, from simple centers of activity on to man, and then on and on still higher, all according to well-established and firmly enforced laws of nature. If you prefer the old figures of thought, you may think of the masculine principle as God, the Father, and of the feminine principle as nature, the universal mother, from whose womb all things have been born. This is more than a mere poetic figure of speech. It is an idea of the actual process of the creation of the universe. But always remember that the all is but one, and that in its infinite mind, the universe is generated, created, and exists. It may help you to get the proper idea if you will apply the law of correspondence to yourself and your own mind. You know that the part of you which you call I, in a sense, stands apart and witnesses the creation of mental images in your own mind. The part of your mind in which the mental generation is accomplished may be called the me, in distinction from the I, which stands apart and witnesses and examines the thoughts, ideas, and images of the me. As above, so below, remember. And the phenomena of one plane may be employed to solve the riddles of higher or lower planes. Is it any wonder that you, the child, feel that instinctive reverence for the all, which feeling we call religion, that respect and reverence for the Father mind? Is it any wonder that, when you consider the works and wonders of nature, you are overcome with a mighty feeling which has its roots away down in your inmost being? It is the mother mind that you are pressing close up to, like a babe to the breast. Do not make the mistake of supposing that the little world you see around you, the earth, which is a mere grain of dust in the universe, is the universe itself. There are millions upon millions of such worlds, and greater. And there are millions of such universes in existence within the infinite mind of the all. And even in our own little solar system, there are regions and planes of life far higher than ours, and beings compared to which we earthbound mortals are as the slimy life forms that dwell on the ocean's bed when compared to man. There are beings with powers and attributes higher than man has ever dreamed of the gods possessing, and yet these beings were once as you, and still lower, and you will be even as they, and still higher in time. For such is the destiny of man as reported by the illumined. And death is not real, even in the relative sense. It is but birth to a new life, and you shall go on and on and on to higher and still higher planes of life, for aeons upon aeons of time. The universe is your home, and you shall explore its farthest recesses before the end of time. You are dwelling in the infinite mind of the all, and your possibilities and opportunities are infinite, both in time and space. And at the end of the grand cycle of aeons, when the all shall draw back into itself all of its creations, you will go gladly, for you will then be able to know the whole truth of being at one with the all. Such is the report of the illumined, those who have advanced well along the path. And, in the meantime, rest calm and serene. You are safe and protected by the infinite power of the Father-Mother mind. Within the Father-Mother mind, mortal children are at home. The Kybalion. There is not one who is fatherless nor motherless in the universe. The Kybalion. Chapter 6. The Divine Paradox. Half-wise, recognizing the comparative unreality of the universe, imagine that they may defy its laws. Such are vain and presumptuous fools, and they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements by reason of their folly. The truly wise, knowing the nature of the universe, use law against laws, the higher against the lower, and by the art of alchemy, transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy, and thus triumph. Mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, visions, and fantastic imaginings or living, but in using the higher forces against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. The Kybalion. This is the paradox of the universe, resulting from the principle of polarity which manifests when the all begins to create. Hearken to it, for it points the difference between half-wisdom and wisdom, while to the infinite all, the universe, its laws, its powers, its life, its phenomena, are as things witnessed in the state of meditation or dream. Yet to all that is finite, the universe must be treated as real, and life and action and thought must be based thereupon accordingly, although with an ever-understanding of the higher truth, each according to its own plane and laws. Were the all to imagine that the universe were indeed reality, then woe to the universe, for there would be no escape from lower to higher. Divineward, then, would the universe become a fixity and progress would become impossible. And if man, owing to half-wisdom, acts and lives and thinks of the universe as merely a dream, akin to his own finite dreams, then indeed does it so become for him, and like a sleepwalker, he stumbles ever around and around in a circle, making no progress and being forced into an awakening at last by his falling, bruised and bleeding over the natural laws which he ignored. Keep your mind ever on the star, but let your eyes watch over your footsteps, lest you fall into the mire by reason of your upward gaze. Remember the divine paradox, that while the universe is not, still it is. Remember ever the two poles of truth, the absolute and the relative. Beware of half-truths. What Hermetists know as the law of paradox is an aspect of the principle of polarity. The Hermetic writings are filled with references to the appearance of the paradox in the consideration of the problems of life and being. The teachers are constantly warning their students against the error of omitting the other side of any question, and their warnings are particularly directed to the problems of the absolute and the relative, which perplex all students of philosophy, and which cause so many to think and act contrary to what is generally known as common sense. And we caution all students to be sure to grasp the divine paradox of the absolute and relative, lest they become entangled in the mire of the half-truth. With this in view, this particular lesson has been written. Read it carefully. The first thought that comes to the thinking man after he realizes the truth that the universe is a mental creation of the all is that the universe and all that it contains is a mere illusion, an unreality, against which idea his instincts revolt. But this, like all other great truths, must be considered both from the absolute and the relative points of view. From the absolute viewpoint, of course, the universe is in the nature of an illusion, a dream, a phantasmagoria, as compared to the all in itself. We recognize this even in our ordinary view, for we speak of the world as a fleeting show that comes and goes, is born and dies. For the element of impermanence and change, finiteness and unsubstantiality, must ever be connected with the idea of a created universe when it is contrasted with the idea of the all, no matter what may be our beliefs concerning the nature of both. Philosopher, metaphysician, scientist, and theologian all agree upon this idea, and the thought is found in all forms of philosophical thought and religious conceptions, as well as in the theories of the respective schools of metaphysics and theology. So, the Hermetic teachings do not preach the unsubstantiality of the universe in any stronger terms than those more familiar to you, although their presentation of the subject may seem somewhat more startling. Anything that has a beginning and an end must be, in a sense, unreal and untrue, and the universe comes under the rule in all schools of thought. From the absolute point of view, there is nothing real except the all, no matter what terms we may use in thinking of or discussing the subject. Whether the universe be created of matter, or whether it be a mental creation in the mind of the all, it is unsubstantial, non-enduring, a thing of time, space, and change. We want you to realize this fact thoroughly before you pass judgment on the Hermetic conception of the mental nature of the universe. Think over any and all of the other conceptions and see whether this be not true of them. But the absolute point of view shows merely one side of the picture. The other side is the relative one. Absolute truth has been defined as things as the mind of God knows them, while relative truth is things as the highest reason of man understands them. And so, while to the all the universe must be unreal and illusionary, a mere dream or result of meditation, nevertheless, to the finite minds forming a part of that universe and viewing it through mortal faculties, the universe is very real indeed, and must be so considered. In recognizing the absolute view, we must not make the mistake of ignoring or denying the facts and phenomena of the universe as they present themselves to our mortal faculties. We are not the all, remember. To take familiar illustrations, we all recognize the fact that matter exists to our senses. We will fare badly if we do not. And yet, even our finite minds understand the scientific dictum that there is no such thing as matter from a scientific point of view. That which we call matter is held to be merely an aggregation of atoms, which atoms themselves are merely a grouping of units of force called electrons or ions, vibrating and in constant circular motion. We kick a stone and we feel the impact. It seems to be real, notwithstanding that we know it to be merely what we have stated above. But remember that our foot, which feels the impact by means of our brains, is likewise matter, so constituted of electrons, and for that matter, so are our brains. And, at the best, if it were not by reason of our mind, we would not know the foot or stone at all. Then again, the ideal of the artist or sculptor, which he is endeavoring to reproduce in stone or on canvas, seems very real to him. So do the characters in the mind of the author or dramatist, which he seeks to express so that others may recognize them. And if this be true in the case of our finite minds, what must be the degree of reality in the mental images created in the mind of the infinite? Oh, friends, this universe of mentality is very real indeed. It is the only one we can ever know, though we rise from plane to plane, higher and higher in it. To know it otherwise, but actual experience, we must be the all itself. It is true that the higher we rise in the scale, the nearer to the mind of the Father we reach, the more apparent becomes the illusory nature of finite things, but not until the all finally withdraws us into itself does the vision actually vanish. So, we need not dwell upon the feature of illusion. Rather, let us, recognizing the real nature of the universe, seek to understand its mental laws and endeavor to use them to the best effect in our upward progress through life, as we travel from plane to plane of being. The laws of the universe are nonetheless iron laws because of the mental nature. All, except the all, are bound by them. What is in the infinite mind of the all is real, in a degree second only to that reality itself, which is vested in the nature of the all. So, do not feel insecure or afraid. We are all held firmly in the finite mind of the all, and there is naught to hurt us or for us to fear. There is no power outside of the all to affect us. So we may rest calm and secure. There is a world of comfort and security in this realization when once attained. Then calm and peaceful do we sleep, rocked in the cradle of the deep, resting safely on the bosom of the ocean of infinite mind, which is the all. In the all, indeed, do we live and move and have our being. Matter is nonetheless matter to us, while we dwell on the plane of matter, although we know it to be merely an aggregation of electrons or particles of force vibrating rapidly and gyrating around each other in the formations of atoms, the atoms in turn vibrating and gyrating, forming molecules, which latter in turn form larger masses of matter. Nor does matter become less matter when we follow the inquiry still further and learn from the Hermetic teachings that the force, of which the electrons are but units, is merely a manifestation of the mind of the all, and like all else in the universe, is purely mental in its nature. While on the plane of matter, we must recognize its phenomena. We may control matter, as all masters of higher or lesser degree do, but we do so by applying the higher forces. We commit a folly when we attempt to deny the existence of matter in the relative aspect. We may deny its mastery over us, and rightly so, but we should not attempt to ignore it in its relative aspect, at least so long as we dwell upon its plane. Nor do the laws of nature become less constant or effective when we know them, likewise to be merely mental creations. They are in full effect on the various planes. We overcome the lower laws by applying still higher ones, and in this way only. But we cannot escape law or rise above it entirely. Nothing but the all can escape law, and that because the all is law itself, from which all laws emerge. The most advanced masters may acquire the powers usually attributed to the gods of men, and there are countless ranks of being in the great hierarchy of life, whose being and power transcends even that of the highest masters among men to a degree unthinkable by mortals. But even the highest master and the highest being must bow to the law and be as nothing in the eye of the all, so that if even these highest beings, whose powers exceed even those attributed by men to their gods, even if these are bound by and are subservient to law, then imagine the presumption of mortal men of our race and grade, when he dares to consider the laws of nature as unreal, visionary, and illusory, because he happens to be able to grasp the truth that the laws are mental in nature and simply mental creations of the all. Those laws which the all intends to be governing laws are not to be defied or argued away. So long as the universe endures, will they endure. For the universe exists by virtue of these laws, which form its framework and which hold it together. The Hermetic principle of mentalism, while explaining the true nature of the universe upon the principle that all is mental, does not change the scientific conceptions of the universe, life, or evolution. In fact, science merely corroborates the Hermetic teachings. The latter merely teaches that the nature of the universe is mental, while modern science has taught that it is material, or, of late, that it is energy at the last analysis. The Hermetic teachings have no fault to find with Herbert Spencer's basic principle, which postulates the existence of an infinite and eternal energy from which all things proceed. In fact, the Hermetics recognize in Spencer's philosophy the highest outside statement of the workings of the natural laws that have ever been promulgated, and they believe Spencer to have been a reincarnation of an ancient philosopher who dwelt in ancient Egypt thousands of years ago, and who later incarnated as Heraclitus, the Grecian philosopher who lived BC 500, and they regard his statement of the infinite and eternal energy as directly in the line of the Hermetic teachings, always with the addition of their own doctrine that his energy is the energy of the mind of the all. With the master key of the Hermetic philosophy, the student of Spencer will be able to unlock many doors of the inner philosophical conceptions of the great English philosopher, whose work shows the results of the preparation of his previous incarnations. His teachings regarding evolution and rhythm are in almost perfect agreement with the Hermetic teachings regarding the principle of rhythm. So, the student of Hermetics need not lay aside any of his cherished scientific views regarding the universe. All he is asked to do is grasp the underlying principle of the all is mind, the universe is mental, held in the mind of the all. He will find that the other 6 of the 7 principles will fit into his scientific knowledge and will serve to bring out obscure points and to throw light in dark corners. This is not to be wondered at when we realize the influence of the Hermetic thought of the early philosophers of Greece, upon whose foundations of thought the theories of modern science largely rest. The acceptance of the first Hermetic principle, mentalism, is the only great point of difference between modern science and Hermetic students. and science is gradually moving toward the hermetic position in its groping in the dark for a way out of the labyrinth into which it has wandered in its search for reality. The purpose of this lesson is to impress upon the minds of our students the fact that, to all intents and purposes, the universe, as they would be under the hypotheses of materialism or energism. Under
Now
any hypothesis, the universe in its outer aspect is changing, ever fluid and transitory, and therefore devoid of substantiality and reality. But, note the other pole of truth. Under the same hypothesis, we are compelled to act and live as if the fleeting things were real and substantial. With this difference, always, between the various hypotheses, that under the old views, mental power was ignored as a natural force, while under mentalism, it becomes the greatest natural force. And this one difference revolutionizes life to those who understand the principle and its resulting laws and practice. So, finally, students all, grasp the advantage of mentalism and learn to know, use, and apply the laws resulting therefrom, but do not yield to the temptation which, as the Kybalion states, overcomes the half-wise and which causes them to be hypnotized by the apparent unreality of things. The consequence being that they wander about like dream people, dwelling in a world of dreams, ignoring the practical work and life of man. The end being that they are broken against the rocks and torn asunder by the elements, by reason of their folly. Rather, follow the example of the wise, which the same authority states, use law against laws, the higher against the lower, and by the art of alchemy transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy, and thus triumph. Following the authority, let us avoid the half-wisdom, which is folly, which ignores the truth that mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, vision, and fantastic imaginings or living, but in using the higher forces against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating the higher. Remember always, student, that transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. The
Hey
above
Lulu,
quotations are from
where
the
you been
Kybalion
at?
and are worthy of being committed to memory by the student. We do not live in a world of dreams, but in an universe which, while relative, is real so far as our lives and actions are concerned. Our business.
Where in the hell have you been? I hope you're all right. I'm hanging in there. They don't need to complain. I'm still above ground, still here. You know, yeah, I go through things like everybody else, but I don't complain. Yeah, I was just about to get ready to stop this right here because this is about right at a 4 hour audio. I'm an hour and 36 minutes in. I'm I want to get this reading in that Mr. Tory had did. Then I'm gonna call it a night. As y'all know, I always try to share her readings whenever she drop one. Y'all know I had to. Y'all know how I had to do the remix on y'all. You too, love. I'm glad you dropped in. Good to see you. I've been missing you.
If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you are returning, thank you so much for all of your continued love and support. I really appreciate it. All information about the channel can be found in my description box below.
Oh, it's good to be.
This is a timeless collective reading for all signs. Keep in mind that energy is fluid, time is an illusion. All right. So whatever comes out in the reading could be related to anything in your life. It could be love, career, finances. It could be anything. This could be your story, or this could be the story of someone else that is in your energy or your environment, knowingly or unknowingly. This could be a past situation, a current event, or this may be a future prediction. He could be a she could be a he. Please only take the messages that resonate with you, okay? The Hierophant card came out. The World is here in the Ace of Wands. There's a major upgrade that's happening, okay? I have to be honest, I almost didn't want to do a reading because the last few days I've been really talking about this very aggressive type of energy that's coming in, but I'm surrendering to it. And I think that we as a collective, we should all embrace this energy, like really lean into it, because, you know, people will tell you that you will always get the truth out of a person when they are under the influence and when they're angry. And I think that for some people, there's a need right now to fully express yourself, but understand the true meaning of emotional intelligence and control. There's no need to be erratic or irrational, you know, out of control, but there is this burning passion, and there's a passion here that a lot of people in the collective are currently having, where getting closer to your higher self and closing out these cycles, okay, it's a huge eye-opening experience. There's this level of awareness here that is new to a lot of people. Okay, here's a Judgment and the Emperor card here. This is calling judgment on the fact that right now it is time to be the emperor. And it doesn't matter if you're male or female. It is time now to have tunnel vision. It's time to set boundaries. It's time to be organized. It's time for people to clean themselves up more professionally. It's time to be authentic. It's time to really, really know exactly what your purpose, what your passion is, and understand, you know, that sometimes your purpose, you may not always be passionate about your purpose, but that is where consistency and dedication come into play. And that's why this masculine energy is here in Aries season, this divine energy, and the energy that, like I said, male and females carry. I actually want to say this because it's coming to me right now. Yesterday, someone left a comment on the video that I posted, and I was talking about people tying up loose ends and coming towards you. And I was speaking about, I said some people have like a star quality, or they may be on platforms. And the person by the name of Tony Ann, and I'm calling her name out, she commented on that video. She said the only thing that comes to mind when readers medically pick up new endeavors are starting a platform or becoming a tarot reader. It's never pursuing medicine, opening an ALF, pharmaceutical. It's usually some mediocre undertaking. You are picking up on a high value feminine, yet she's being minimized to a tarot reader. That's because you want to embody the true essence of that woman. No man is out here finding any reader captivating. And I didn't think about this until right now as I look at these cards. But if you hear what that person is saying, this is the energy that is in the collective right now that is so
I missed that.
It's a very prominent, prevalent type of energy right now of a lot of people who are still trying to judge and condemn others for their. I actually want to say this because it's coming to me right now. Yesterday, someone left a comment on the video that I posted, and I was talking about people tying up loose ends and coming towards you. And I was speaking about, I said some people have like a starality, or they may be on platforms. And the person by the name of Tony Ann, and calling her name out, she commented on that video. She said the only thing that comes to mind when readers energetically pick up new endeavors are starting a platform or becoming a tarot reader. It's never pursuing medicine, opening an ALF pharmaceutical. It's usually some mediocre undertaking. You are picking up on a high value feminine, yet she's being minimized to a tarot reader. That's because you want to embody the true essence of that woman. No man is out here finding any reader captivating.
Whoa, damn!
And I didn't think about this until right now, as I look at these cards. But if you hear what that person is saying, this is the energy that is in the collective right now. That is it's a very prominent, prevalent type of energy right now of a lot of people who are trying to judge and condemn others for their choices, and a lot of people who, like Tony Ann here, and I'm calling her by name because I'm extremely triggered and disappointed by someone making a comment like that. A lot of people, we're having tarot church today. It's Sunday, April 2nd. A lot of people who lack any understanding about self-worth are typically the ones who like to tell you about value, or people who don't understand how to even assess and evaluate what value is. Love to tell you what you are worth or what you are worthy of. And that is the type of distorted energy that you have to be very careful, because that is the enemy speaking to a lot of people. You find your purpose in whatever it is, whether it's law, medicine, you working at the local Target, you being a tarot reader. Every single person has some type of purpose. And it's really sad that so many people carry this inflated ego, who are conditioned to believe that they are in some way superior to other people. When in actuality, they lack all awareness. The third eye is completely closed, and they're not aware of anything. This person actually said to be reduced to a tarot reader. First of all, you don't know who is behind these cameras that are reading these cards. Yesterday was my 3-year anniversary here on YouTube. And I don't even want to sit here and go in on this type of person or this comment too much, because it's a way to bait me into oversharing things about myself that I don't have to. That only gives the enemy more access. But let me just say that there's a lot of life coaches, tarot readers, ministers, motivational speakers, Reiki healers, many light workers who are assisting some of your most high paid executives.
That's right.
Doctors, lawyers, celebrities, people who care about health and wealth. They care about their mental health and their spiritual health over everything. And this person actually made the comment and said that pretty much a high value man would not be interested in a tarot reader, as if a tarot reader, that is their only gift. And it doesn't matter. Like I said, you could work at the local Target. For another person who lacks self-awareness and consciousness to decide to judge your story by the chapter that they walked in on, to me, is very disappointing.
Damn.
How dare you call yourself high value? Because there's no amount of money or education that can teach you tact. There's no amount of education that allows some people to actually have common sense. Common sense really isn't that common for a lot of people.
I knew this was gonna be a deep.
To be bold enough to make a statement to showcase your ignorance like that,
Ignorance.
it blows me. Like I said, I don't have to talk about myself, but I know a lot of doctors and lawyers. They wish that their YouTube revenue, they wish that their income after they got done with working those 24-hour shifts and they had over $150,000 in student loan debt, they wish that they could have what we make in revenue. Some tarot readers who are truly gifted work less than 40 hours in an entire month and they make what lawyers and doctors make. And you think that tarot reader, that light worker, that healer can't be in the room with millionaire moguls? They'll be in rooms that you will never, because your spirit, it'll never even allow you to get into a room.
Facts.
How dare you speak about value?
Facts. Damn.
You don't know how to assess and evaluate value, so how dare you try and tell someone else what they are worth or worthy of?
Woo.
You are a fool, an ignorant fool at that.
Damn.
I just want to say to any person, because like I said, sometimes like the masculine energy that we have now, you should have the confidence to speak up and speak out. Don't be afraid to be who you are authentically. I have a college degree. I left a very, very well-paying job to pursue my passion, my purpose. I have attorneys in my family, immediate family, healthcare professionals, business owners. You could never call me just a tarot reader. You know nothing about a lot of people's portfolio of assets.
That's low vibrational.
You should worry about
You know, got on the Taurus scheme.
your mindset and how it's causing you so many liabilities in life before you dare speak on somebody else.
Exactly.
And for people who are watching this video, don't let anybody tell you who you are and who you are not, who you can be and who you can't be. If you feel like you are lacking and slacking in an area of your life right now, this is your time to grow, to ascend, to evolve, to heal. I don't care if you feel like you were given a losing hand or not, you can still win.
That's right.
God is your source. Don't let people and naysayers who are bitter, angry, and broken because when they chose a certain path in life that they thought would grant them security and stability, they're getting in YouTube comments and they're mad because their profession is not being mentioned because you're coming from a place of ego.
That part.
Your professional title holds no weight. Do you know your purpose? Are you anointed with anything? Do you even know what your passion is?
Okay. Is it?
People who can't answer those questions, don't let them keep you up at night.
They think it's all about the bag.
A lot of people now with the Hierophant in the world, this is ascension here. This is growth. This is learning, like I said, to assess and evaluate what value actually is. There's tangibles and there's intangibles. A lot of people know nothing at all about assets versus liabilities. But those are the ones who like to talk the most. Confidence is very quiet. And I also want to just say too, be careful of a lot of people who are underdogs, who push and promote being selfless, being the martyr, when secretly they are really jealous, envious, and upset that certain people are receiving rewards, recognition, and accolades for being in their purpose. A lot of people, they follow a certain path life, and when they don't get to their destination, their desired destination, they switch up. They pretend that they're all love and light and they're happy. No.
Baby girl, where you at?
Everybody wants to be rewarded and recognized for what they're doing. To some point of degree. And some people are naturally just humble, modest, and selfless. But don't ever make it a point in life to think that if you downplay and minimize yourself, that it's going to gain the attention, that you're going to earn some cool points. You can be humble, but you never have to minimize yourself. Don't be afraid to grow, to heal, to evolve, and call people out on their BS. Again, you can still have self-control, emotional intelligence. But I think that it's time for a lot of people in the collective, stop letting everything slide. Stop making it a point to give people so much access and people think that it's okay to put you. Because a lot of people like to judge people, like I said, based on the chapter of your story that they walked in. You don't know what happens in the final chapter.
I just said that shit earlier in Information Man chat. See, I told you, nothing happens. I don't believe quiz doesn't happen for a reason. And you know, anytime Miss Victoria drop a reading, I'm gonna play it because it's always gonna be a spiritual message. And I just felt like I needed to play it because I hadn't listened to it yet. And she dropped it about 5 or 6 hours ago, and I hadn't even heard it yet. And I had said I was gonna wait to listen, but someone just said, "Go ahead and play it," because this thing hit deep, baby.
Some of you guys need to make sure, like I said, that you're looking at things clearly. Don't be derailed on your journey because of, like I always say, distorted perceptions and desires.
Because of the naysayers.
Some people are aiming for things in life and they don't even know why they're doing it. It's because it's what their mama, daddy, sister, brother, cousin told them they should do. Learn about the spiritual laws of success.
There you go.
Especially before you get in my comments.
It ain't all about money. I said,
because if you know about the law of detachment, then you would detach from the idea that a lot of things bring about security and stability. Let me tell you about a tarot reader, a healer, a high priestess, a hierophant, a hermit. We will always be here to bring out people out of a dark, sunken place. Sometimes a lot of people, they don't know how to do that for themselves. And anyone that watches my readings, the thing about it is, this is a spiritual community here on YouTube. So a lot of people who are coming to these readings, they are light workers and healers.
That's why
so please forgive me if you don't feel recognized because I don't mention certain professions. I've had clients who contacted me on a regular basis, business women in Dubai, all over the world, who come to me for consultations and coaching, for mindset coaching, to be in their purpose. Me understanding that God is my source and that I am a humble servant of God has gotten me in a lot of rooms that a lot of doctors and lawyers they don't even know exist. And it's not to say that being spiritual or being a healer makes you better than anybody. In whatever you do, there's purpose.
That's right.
There's a reason why you're doing what you're doing.
Facts.
And people who try to talk you out of understanding your purpose, your passion, and your desires, you need to stay away from them. That is the enemy.
See, now that's how I know this message was for me. Because somebody tried to talk me out of doing what I'm doing. Oh, you can grow. You can get more subscribers if you do this, if you do that, and stay away from the tarot and this and that and going on. I said, let me tell you something. I said, this is my channel. Oh, and you can have open panels. I said, I don't mind having open panels. I said, I do more. I present more than just tarot here, but what I do is I'm trying to. I said, my channel is about all things spiritual. I'm here to show the esoteric, what's really going on within, what's hidden from the people, and try to show them how everything connects up spiritually. I said, I don't mind having open panels. I said, but when people be in the clouds listening, I know to be out there. I said, because like I say, I can feel energy. I said, but when I ask them to drop the link or whatever, when I have dropped the link, nobody want to come up. So I said, what the heck with it? I said, but look, I'm doing what I feel is my purpose, what I'm supposed to do. And what, like I say, whatever you want to call it, God, source, the creator, what the Most High want me to do. As long as I'm doing what I know is pleasing to him or her, that's what I'm going to do. So I mean, okay, you got a channel. Why don't you get a channel and create what you want to create? Why you want to tell me what to create, what to play? Yeah, I'm open to all kinds of things because I'm multidimensional like that. But don't tell me what I need to do, stop doing, and what I need to do. And I told them that because this is, like I said, this is my platform.
Swords. There's no need for you to be stressed out, worried, or concerned. 9 of Wands, paranoid. 9 of Cups, 999. I told you guys, it's a solar eclipse that's coming in about 2 weeks. The energy is already real heavy right now. You're elevating, you're growing. God is allowing you to see the truth about yourself and about people and situations around you, because there's a judgment call that's about to be made where you will be forced to quickly make a decision to move in a different direction, to go on a new path. You don't have to settle for anything. This lack mentality and mindset that a lot of people have because you've been conditioned to believe it, because you haven't received what you wanted in life or what you felt like you were owed.
Exactly.
Take this time now to release that.
I told her, I said, I feel
it's like that person in those comments. Those are the kind of people, like I said, they want to spiritually bully and spy on other people because they feel like although they've accomplished things in life, they still haven't been recognized and rewarded. Maybe you accomplished a lot of stuff that God didn't choose for you to actually accomplish, sweetheart. It's just like people in failed marriages. Why are you mad when that marriage fails? You chose that person. God didn't choose that person for you. So why are you mad?
Everybody did
some responsibility and accountability for yourself.
We put each other together who we thought we were supposed to be. Anyway, every marriage ain't ordained by God, the Most High will. I say God, the Most.
The world is here with the will.
Say it.
Like I said, it's a turning point. There's no need to hold on to anything or anyone. This is a time to plan, strategize, build. The 4 of Pentacles. Go assess and evaluate your budget. How are you spending? If you want to see the world, do you have enough money to travel? If not, then maybe you need to consider changing things in your profession, or your lifestyle should shift and change, where you create more value for yourself by having more experiences and creating memories, having things that you can hold on to. It's time to release the things that have held you back so that you can go and actually pursue things that you feel are worth you holding on to. And that starts with, like I said, you finding out what are you passionate about. And being very honest and truthful with yourself. Having a certain level of awareness and consciousness to see that yes, you are unhappy with certain things. Maybe you feel like you did take the wrong path in life. It's never too late for you to start over or to change.
Right.
But attacking other people or allowing people to attack you, that'll never get you anywhere. I send that into Tony and Honey 10. Don't ever get in my comments talking like that. Because I read my comments. And anybody that feels that way on my channel, you can excuse yourself now.
Walking your own.
I don't like for people to be judgmental. Because a lot of us here in the tarot community, spiritual community, everybody knows about church hurt. We all know what it's like to be broken, hurt, harmed, discarded by extremely narcissistic people in the church, in organizations, in relationships, in family. And the minute that, like I made my post yesterday, because yesterday was my 3-year anniversary, the moment that you choose yourself, every demon from the pit of hell wants to all of a sudden target you.
Because I don't want nothing but how
like I always say, the enemy never comes to rob, steal, and kill or destroy an empty house. People only target you and speak real fly at the mouth.
At a distance.
When they know that though they don't know how to truly evaluate value, they know they're not worth your time for real.
That part. I don't even give it in.
Ace of Wands. It's a passion, new beginning here. Creative endeavors, new businesses. New awareness, insight. Yeah. Look past this. Spirit is saying now, stop trying to create from a place of being broken, of a broken heart. Release that pain. It's time for you to see that certain things that are manifesting in your life, it is still coming from a place of you being triggered because of old trauma. It's time to release it completely. It's time for you to have peace, balance, and harmony. And like I said, and be creative. Go to the drawing board and start strategizing how you want to actually move forward in mastering yourself. A lot of you, this is for sure you taking your spiritual path and journey to the next level. Learning about your chakras, learning about how your soul is actually evolving, learning about how to protect your energy. Learning how to speak up for yourself, learning how to be authentic. Learning that everyone cannot go with you, everyone cannot be in your space. Understanding that you don't have to be molded and you don't have to be forced to conform to anything that you don't want to do.
That part.
You don't have to team up and collaborate with a bunch of broken people, wounded individuals, people who are discontented and bored and they've missed opportunities in life. These are the people who are jealous and envious of a person who actually has an open third eye, who has awareness. The people who sit around, like I said, they don't receive reward and recognition for the choices that they've made, and they're angry and upset because they've missed a lot of opportunities. So then they decide to throw their pain onto you with the 3 of Pentacles because you are receiving rewards and recognition for the fact that you have teamed up with God and with your spiritual team to do what you are supposed to do, what God called you to do, because you understand that God is your source, not just your employer.
I can't make it up. I just said that.
So I feel like everybody, the message is you shine bright. And don't worry about who is jealous, envious, or competing with you. It does not matter.
Irritating their demons.
The 5 of Wands, like none of these people matter. These are people who have chemical imbalances and they are juggling their lives as we speak. They have no right to really speak on what you're doing. Again, a person who does not understand value can never tell you what you are worth. I don't care if it's your mother, your father, your children, your friends, your family. Nobody can tell you what you are worth. Do not allow yourself to be in a state of being just completely unbalanced and in limbo and unable to manifest and move forward because you are carrying a lot of karmic debt and baggage that is not yours to carry. So many people in the collective right now truly need to just release this mindset, this idea that you're wrong for loving yourself. You're wrong for doing things that you are passionate about. You're wrong for desiring true love. Because all this is a lot of projection from a bunch of people around you who are too afraid to actually even walk the path that you walk.
Spirit talking.
You have to kick this devil out of your mind. And let's be honest, it's not always just other people. It's also the fact that we allow these type of people to actually dictate and control how we think and how we feel about ourselves, our choices, and our actual life decisions. And you should not do that. Where God is taking you now is to a place that requires structure, order, power, authority. God is giving you more power and authority. But you have to show that you can manage what he's already given you. You cannot be easily shaken or broken. Like I said, don't be in your emotions, Queen of Cups.
I'm too unbothered.
Cut people off without warning. And when they speak on you or what you're doing, if you need to speak up, don't be afraid to do so.
Make it up. Enough.
Nine of Pentacles, the Emperor, Nine of Pentacles, Four of Wands, Three of Wands here with the Magician card. Your ships are coming in. The Emperor, the Four of Wands, some of you, this is an excellent time to invest, start businesses, buy property, celebrate. Some of you will be having children soon, but you have a lot of financial abundance coming in. But see, the enemy is out right now to rob, steal, kill, and destroy, and to tell you that what you've been working on, your little business, oh, it's not respected like a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. Your little business, though, will allow you to be at the bedside of friends and your family when they are ill. Allow you to travel. It will allow you to be at home with your children. It will allow you to have peace. It will allow you to honor and to cherish yourself. That's what it means to be in your life purpose and to have passion.
Boom.
When you discover your passion and then it leads you to your purpose, it then will lead you to all the profits that you need.
Right.
That's what a lot of people don't understand, because they don't understand the spiritual laws of success. Don't let bottom feeders ever tell you how to get to the top.
Okay.
And that's exactly what the enemy is doing right now. It's trying to control the mind of people, to have you stuck in these illusions of these outdated beliefs about yourself. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'll never be married. I'll never have kids. Or, a person, they wouldn't want to marry someone that has kids. I don't have value because of this, because of what somebody said in some comments or on a podcast or whatever. Like, no. Put an end to this and walk away from it. If something is not serving you emotionally, if it's not fulfilling, you can walk away from it. Friend, family member, job, I don't care. Walk away from it. Go on your own journey. But do not be afraid to take a journey because of what someone else has said about it. The world needs light workers and healers right now. You have a lot of preachers that are in a pulpit, and I'm telling you, they're getting readings weekly from tarot readers. Don't let them fool you.
That part.
They're doing a lot of sacrifices to have the gift of prophecy, but they won't speak out about it. Preachers that in the largest mega churches, they have plenty of spiritualists on payroll, life coaches, therapists. A lot of them, their source is not God alone. Knight of Pentacles. This is a planning stage. It's preparation. But there's something new coming in for you 100%. Three of Cups, a time to celebrate. And a lot of you, seriously, you need to get away from certain friends, family, people who have a mindset where they want to, like I said, minimize you, criticize you. And it's really jealous and envy. But think about a narcissist. A narcissist is so angry that they can't love or truly experience love. Narcissists oftentimes are some of the most successful people because they need rewards, recognition, accolades, and attention to feed their ego because there is nothing in their heart space. But those are typically our leaders, right? Those are typically the people that sit at the head of the table. It's nothing wrong with you being a quiet million, being in your purpose. I can't tell you the last time I woke up with an alarm clock. You think I'll let somebody that wake up at the crack of dawn every day to work for somebody else tell me that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing? You think I'll let you determine my worth and my value? Of course not. Never. I would be a fool. Never argue with a fool because the person passing by, they won't know if you're the fool or the other person. I'm not going to put myself in a position as a high value person to look foolish. Manifest what you want. The end of hard times are here. Something is moving quickly for you. There is good news, communication, travel, opportunities to relocate. It's like the sky is the limit. Hangman, you're going through an awakening. Yeah, there could be delays here. These delays are only here though because God wants you to look into something. Research. This is a time for R&D, research and development. Get some more answers. Get some more clarity about a situation here. The thing about the hangman is that you can come down at any time. These delays are only temporary. You just need to see something for yourself before you on to having all of wealth, this abundance, this security, stability. You need to really understand why you had to go through certain things to break that generational curse.
That part.
You have to understand why you have to first break the generational curse in order to then create generational wealth. Some people get upset because they've had to do a lot of things alone. But the truth is, don't be upset about the fact that maybe you had to build a kingdom alone, because now you get to invite people in and you get to assess and evaluate if they're worthy of even being in your kingdom. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. A lot of people have been on their spiritual journey and they've had to struggle, suffer in silence. They've had to have a lot of wins that they celebrated alone. And that's okay. Because a lot of people, they still don't understand how you got to where you're going. But that's justice. You will receive good karma for the things that you've done, for the fact that you had good character, good intentions in your hardest times. Times when you could have spoken out and being sad, angry, unruly, or projected negativity, you decided to be grounded and focus on building.
Okay.
Some people focus too much on BS and talking about the next person because they're in a mental entrapment about their own decisions in life. Because they don't have the strength and the courage to actually transform, to experience a rebirth, because they won't put an end to the things in their life that's toxic. And get those people out of your life. You're going into a season where you should be able to love and be loved. That's the reason why God has you in a pruning season. That's why you're in hermit mode right now. And the towers are falling all around you. And you're still able to sleep peacefully and rest. Rest, retreat, rejuvenate, and allow God to redeem you. Because I'm telling you, judgment, divine intervention is here. There's nothing to worry about when you're actually in alignment. 2 of Cups. You're moving towards healthy partnerships. Some of you, yes, you are moving towards your actual kingdom spouse, the partner that you will build your life with, a legacy. And so the enemy, just like that person said, they will tell you, oh no, you're not a high value person, will never want to be with you. That's a lie. That's not true. It's a lot of high value men who will tell you that they are seeking divine feminine. And being divine feminine has nothing to do with your professional job title. It has nothing to do with what's a rap sheet. Mm-hmm. Being of value is, are you equipped? Are you anointed? Does God have an anointing in you and over your life? Do you know how to pray? Do you know how to manifest?
Okay.
What can you do with the dreams and the visions that another person has? Do you know how to add and or create value? That has nothing to do with your money.
Exactly.
What is your connection to source like?
That's what people always say. It's all about the money.
Are you disciplined? Are you consistent? Even a divine masculine is looking for a divine feminine, has a healthy balance of mass energy. Can you get things done? Do you know how to actually manage a kingdom, whether you build it or you inherit it? Don't let people talk to you about value or worth.
Oh, he's going in tonight.
The moon is here with the King of Pentacles. There's an illusion here. For some, a secret. Yep, I just said a secret. And the High Priestess came. You're about to see the truth for some of you about a King of Pentacles. This could be a King of Pentacles in your life, a partner, father figure, friend, lover, whoever. There's some kind of secret that's about to come out about someone. But also some of you are about to change your mindset. You may have had some type of an illusion, some self-limiting belief or idea about what a King of Pentacles is. What does it mean for somebody to be a protector or a provider? You're like again, just like that comment. Do you know what it means for somebody to be of high value? Have you been ignoring someone's actual spiritual worthiness and value because you are only focused on tangible assets here?
Mm-hmm.
Or actually a person's liabilities? It's a lot of different ways to look at this situation, but what feels right to you? But you are about to get answers that's going to take you an offer. There's an offer that's about to take you to a huge offer here. And for some of you, you are truly being chosen. Some of you, there's a King of Pentacles here who is hiding the fact that they are watching you, that they are energetically and spiritually connected with you, a high value person who wants to be with a high priestess. For the people in the back who say that to be a spiritual person, to be a light worker or a healer, you don't embody anything that a high value person would want. Interesting. Eight of Cups. Here's the King of Wands and the King of Swords, the Ace of Swords here. That's three kings here. King of Pentacles with the moon. There's for sure something coming out about a person. Some of you are realizing that your perception or your desire for a person or something was based on an illusion. And you're walking away, and it's going to lead you perhaps to the King of Wands. This King of Wands, King of Swords, to me seems like this is actually the same person. This is someone, the King of Swords, who is fair. They're just, they're a good communicator. They're not overly emotional, but this person is a leader. This person leads with logic, not with emotions. You're walking away from things that are superficial. People who think with ego, and you're going towards a person that they put forth action. Someone who is awakened, the owl is here. They have an all-seeing eye. They are awakened. They're tapped in. Their spirit, they go where their spirit guides tell them, but they are spiritually awakened and aware and able to use logic. This person acts. They take, this is a natural leader. They receive messages, downloads, symbols, synchronicities. You've been waiting on this type of energy to come towards you. But I feel like you have to turn your back on some type of group or community, friends, an organization in order to go towards this. Or there's a masculine here who has to turn away from an idea. Again, everything ties in together. It's just like that message. Somebody, the collective now is starting to see value and worth differently. What you have as the collective is moving into the 5D consciousness here, what you have in a 3D doesn't mean anything. You can be rich, but you're spiritually poor and bankrupt.
Play that shit again.
I'm literally saying like Chuck E. Cheese coins. Like you can't play any games with coins. But these are spiritual coins that a lot of people don't have. Like people say, when you die, you can't take money with you. That money won't get you anything.
Damn sure won't.
And please don't think that what I'm saying is that you need to be poor to be spiritually rich. No, a lot of people, like I said, in their purpose, their income, their portfolio of assets, it far exceeds and surpasses that of a lot of people who do not understand that God is their source. But again, we're not assessing and evaluating things based on physical, tangible assets alone.
Right.
As we shift into a God love consciousness, that is not what matters.
Everybody always focus on the bag.
Rewards, recognition, accolades. If you have a blue check on Instagram, those things don't matter. There are high value people who are public figures who are extremely wealthy who will go and marry a person who doesn't even have a social media presence. I just reading the other day and I talk about some of you have money into your life and they want to live as quiet millionaires and billionaires. Some people actually want to do mission work. They want to travel. They understand the importance of being there with their friends and their family. Understanding that no money can pay for time. You can't buy time. So people have money that allows them to live their life in a way that they are proud of. Where they can march to the beat of their own drum. So if you are pursuing something in your life right now that allows you to have freedom, please don't let somebody else who has a slave mentality tell you anything at all about you walking away from the matrix and following your heart. That person is asleep. It really bothers me because so many people have been conditioned to think this way. And so people, they don't even strive for success and greatness in life. So many people are refusing to be in their purpose because of what somebody told them. A person who has no real power, authority, or influence. Six of Cups. And the strength card. This is having the strength, I feel, to cross the burning sands. It's like it's some kind of initiation. There's growth here. It's like a boy going to a man. Somebody here, like I said, is growing. They're understanding that how they assess and evaluate life and what purpose is and passion, value and worthiness is changing, is shifting. Yeah, the strength. This is like half lion, half woman. Like someone here is tapping into like the giant within themselves and understand they should be passionate, optimistic, and be willing to take a risk to go after what it is that they want. This could be you or someone in your life, or this is just you guys as in the collective. Yeah, the Knight of Swords. This is taking action from a logical standpoint. This is someone being very clear in their headspace that they are moving out of this lack mentality. And what are they doing? They're going towards the divine feminine. The Five of Pentacles is poverty. This could be someone here who is currently nearly bankrupt themselves. They still feel like they have a shot with the divine feminine, because a person can be financially bankrupt and still be spiritually rich, like I just said.
Yep.
Or somebody, the Five of Pentacles, can have a poverty mindset, a lack mentality. Somebody is turning their back on this way thinking, and they're choosing to become this divine or to go towards this divine feminine. Because this divine feminine who has this universe within her, this is someone who has purpose and destiny over their life. They have an anointing. When you go towards a true divine feminine, a person of value, whether it be male or female, whatever you have, they can multiply. So let me tell you again, don't let a person tell you to buy because of your job title, where you come from, or anything else, that you cannot produce good fruit. A person who probably is barren and nothing but rotten fruit falls off of their tree because they lack awareness. But they'll tell you all day that you can't have certain things because you didn't take the path in life that they had. Let me tell you, a lot of privilege isn't opening the same doors that it was opening before. Not in this time, not in this energy. Cheat codes don't work anymore. Yeah, the sun. Somebody knows that there are women and men who literally they carry the light. This is the anointing. This is being enlightened. People are going towards whoever or whatever sets them free, even if they have to leave everything behind. Leave it all behind if you have to. It'll be worth it in the end. Nothing ever compares to you being actually aligned with God and trusting 100% that God is your source for everything.
Exactly.
And just because you are a humble servant of God, that doesn't mean that you need to play it small. Abundance. Teaching, ascension, ancient wisdom, transformation, boom, feminine energy. Feminine energy. Society has been misinformed, and there's been a lot of misconceptions about what feminine and masculine energy actually is. What divine partnerships, what they truly are. Make sure that you're tapping in and you know what does that mean for you. What does that actually mean for you? How do you want to celebrate your life? What is a win or a victory for you? Not what anybody else says, but when you can tap into the light within yourself, then you can manifest anything. Again, it requires you to actually go through a transformation, tapping into ancient wisdom and allowing the ascension to happen. And you have to be teachable. And you have to be able to discern when there's false teachings and doctrines being presented to you to stop you from actually awakening and ascending. There's a lot of false teaching and prophets out here. Mm-hmm. And as a reader, but I'm certainly not only a reader, I'm not telling you that everything I say is factual or to God. Like, again, God is your source and I am not God. But there's a lot of people out here who have a very close connection to God, and they are being asked to do the work to teach other people how to get to the kingdom. Because if you know that God is a source, then you know that you can for sure have a lot of abundance in life. But you have to be willing to go back to the drawing board and, like I said, really, really assess and evaluate what have you been taught about success? What have you been taught about love and relationships? What have you been taught about religion and spirituality? And you may find that some of the things that you've been taught is actually not in alignment with who you are. And it's not in alignment with the visions and the dreams that God has given you. Don't let a person tell you what to do with your bricks when they don't even have a blueprint yet. It bothers me. I won't lie to you guys. It bothers me because so many people are doing things for the wrong reasons. And it's getting to the point where it's so hard to trust people because people's motives and intentions, there's nothing pure about them. And it makes it very difficult when you see a person who truly embodies the divine feminine and or that true divine masculine energy, and they have that anointing, they have the gift, they have the power. Those are the people that are so often, they're overlooked. I just said in the reading yesterday, I do believe that roses can grow in concrete and possibly a dark room. I believe in miracles. I do. Because I know Jesus. I know God. But you have so many people who have been conditioned to think that they are actually in control. Their insecurity and ego has become so inflated that they truly believe that they are in control, that their way is the only way, and that they actually can tell you what to do and what not to do, as if you aspire to be like them. It's a lot of people who are rich and miserable.
More money, more people.
It's a lot of people who pull up to their job every day with anxiety. Do what's best for you. I don't know why, but I feel so strong like this eclipse energy. This is gonna be major. And whatever is leaving your life, you need to just let it leave. Friendships, family, relationships, jobs, please do not hold on to anything. Especially if you've been holding on to it because of a false belief or some false narrative that you've read, heard, or been taught. Just let all of that go. It's really not serving you. It's not serving any of us. And don't be afraid to deny people access. Like, you don't have to Let people have access to you. You don't have to prove yourself or anything.
Okay.
And don't be fooled by people, like I said, who are very upset about the fact that even in their purpose, they are still the underdog. Nobody said that you become rich and famous for being in your purpose. You simply being obedient. Trial and error. Don't be afraid to try things. It's your life. Business here. Don't be afraid to start a business. Make a career change if you need to. Do the things that make you happy and make you feel successful. You have the answers card here. Something here is about to conclude. You're going to get clarity and confirmation. Closure from the past. Like, your problems are about to be over. Good news is coming in. You may receive emails, texts, phone calls, pop-ups, but like somebody is coming in with good news. Manifestation. Something that you've been trying to manifest is coming. The birth of something. Some of you, if you've been trying to conceive, that may happen for you. But there's new opportunities. Birth also, death brings about birth, transformation. You possibly are reinventing yourself. There's, an opportunity for you to start a new idea, a project. Some of you, I'm not telling you, hey, just go quit your job. But if you know that you're passionate about something, pursue it. See where it goes. See what happens. But don't let the naysayers stop you or block you. That's what the enemy is here to do, is to always block you. There's new opportunities manifesting that bring about a lot of really good news for you. And you're in a stage in your life where you get to rebuild. You get to start over. You get to rebuild your life after experiencing a lot of losses. So don't be afraid of what or who you lose.
Good night, baby girl. You got about 10 minutes left on this. So
you need to be very determined and driven now to manifest new reality. And don't worry about what anybody say. Chaos, yeah. You have her death. There's about to be a death to all of this chaos. I'm telling you, something is being eclipsed out. You have here anger. This chaos here. Some of these things, it's like you're being forced to be uncomfortable right now. This card literally says you feel like you've been wrong. I promise that comment certainly made me feel like I had been wronged. I won't lie. I don't get triggered by things, but that really triggered me because it's a karmic energy that is just running around the collective right now. And when I saw it, I was like, oh no. And I honestly didn't think about it until today. My apologies for even giving it so much, but it's something that needs to be said for sure. You're like investing a lot of effort and energy into being your true authentic self, and then people come in because they're angry about their choices and decisions in life, or the chaos or conflict that they're dealing with in their life, and all of a sudden it's like they want to convince you that everything in your life is going to be a dead end because they can't seem to find the light. That's not your fault or your problem. You have the key to a better future. You're finding solutions. Doors that were previously closed for you, they're open wide now. If the door doesn't open, the windows are going up. Like, you have access. You are attracting abundance. You're attracting partnerships, relationships, opportunities. You are the phoenix. Rising from the flames. You have phoenix here, happiness, playfulness. Children, you're going back to a place of being childlike. Your finances will improve. Some of you want to start online businesses and you're worried about should you open that online shop because you don't have much of a following. Everybody started with nothing. Yesterday was my 3-year anniversary. When I started on YouTube, my audio was terrible. My hands were shaking. I was redoing videos. I was clueless. I had no idea about how to be monetized on YouTube or anything. A 1,000,000-mile journey starts with a single step, and don't let anybody talk you out of that. Take the step. I promise you, if you take the step, most likely they will get stuck, derailed, and completely taken off track. You need to keep your Wi-Fi popping at all times. Stay on your path. Don't look back. Don't worry about what other people have to say. And if you have to keep turning around worrying about if somebody is stabbing you in the back, you need to make sure that they're not on your path with you. All of this disappointment and despair and depression, that energy is coming. It's being eclipsed out. And the enemy is upset because as soon as that energy is eclipsed out, everybody is going to start awakening to their higher self and their power. That's why the spiritual warfare is so bad right now. That's why you're experiencing so many obstacles and challenges and delays. You're going to have to be resilient and persevere because many of you are going into a period where you will be called to lead. The dating card is here. Some of you're going to be dating leaders. Once again, I'm telling you that comment was there for a reason. People will try to tell you that you can't date a high value person or a public figure or someone who's extremely successful. It's a lot of people who are opposites who are going to attract. And you being fluid, you being someone who's adaptable, non-judgmental, having an open mind, being able to be like teachable and go with the flow, but have your core values and intentions, is going to literally bring in like things that go beyond your wildest dreams, honestly. The feminine energy though, being in a state where you understand how to receive, and also, like I said, being very discerning. Not to make this about gender, but alpha men, they love very discerning women. It's the feminine energy that can guide a masculine along his journey, his path. The feminine energy, her intuition, this is the feminine energy, that lioness behind this King of Wands. She's a powerhouse. Her intuition, her discernment can tell this masculine at any point where to go, where to turn, when to duck, when to dodge, when to swing the flame, when to pass the torch. Like, don't let people tell you that you're not worthy of things, because it's a lot of kingdom marriages coming together, and these karmic people, they really do want to try to convince you that you can't be with a person of high value, because they want to convince you that you're not of high value if you're not doing what they're doing, if you didn't choose to sell your soul. You don't want to be a slave. So you have no value, so they say. Oh, these silly people. Anyway, you guys, I really hope that this encourages someone and inspires you. New beginnings are coming. Like I said, your life purpose is the reason why you're untapping, unrooting, like elevating, growing, ascending, evolving. Yeah, and you're protected. And look at this. Another woman here carrying the entire universe. The universe is within the feminine. Mother Earth. How you honor yourself, how you think about yourself, it's a frequency, it's a vibration that is sent out into the universe. Mother Earth gives us everything that we need. God has given us this earth. Mother Earth is here to provide us with a lot. The feminine, the true divine feminine energy carries the universe within, him or her. And this is being protected. You have to protect your visions, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, your mind, your emotions, your energy from a lot of people. Be mindful of your friendships too. Because some people, they don't need to be in your life. They're not true friends. Good luck. Yeah, protection and fertility. Some of you are literally, you're holding something that's going to open up the gates to a whole new world. For some, it's a business, it's a baby, but it requires protection. That's the reason too why right now God is eliminating all of these people from your life. Spirit is guiding you, saying, hey, just have this. But right, you need to free yourself. Set up boundaries. Free yourself from these negative Nancy's and naysayers, and yeah, free yourself. Boundaries. And look at career. You're going to be blessed in your career or your business, whatever it is. But you need to trust. Your spirit guides are leading you to a new beginning where you can have good luck and be fortunate and happy. But you have to allow yourself now to trust that it is safe for you to come out of some type of lack mentality or this mental imprisonment. It's safe for you to leave that job. I'm not saying go and leave tomorrow, but at least come up with an exit plan or strategy for yourself. Yeah, because you're being catapulted into your life purpose and your dreams. You're having dreams about your purpose. All you need is to have the confidence here and to set up boundaries. Don't let people tell you what you can and can't do. Do not settle for safe. And you guys can look up the 7 laws of spiritual success. The book, but it may not be here on my bookshelf, but you can probably even find a clip on YouTube where the book is summarized. It's a fairly small book, but it's a real gem. But you're the alchemist, you're master manifester. It's too bad that a lot of people like to judge books by their covers, but don't worry about it. It's game time, game on for you. Don't worry about these people out here. They're ignorant. They're foolish. I think I'm gonna leave it here, you guys. We had tarot church today.
Earlier information.
I just want to see everybody succeed, and like I say, success is different for every person. Success for one person may be being a millionaire or billionaire. Success for another person is simply being able to wake up in the morning without an alarm clock and drink their favorite cup of coffee. It's different for every person, but nobody should define success for you but you. And once you determine what success looks like for you, if you don't feel like you're successful, then you create the life that you want.
Right.
And don't worry about how other people judge you. Let them just be unhappy. It's okay. I love you guys all so very much. I really hope that this resonated. I know that my tone today, y'all, I really was upset. I feel a little bit better now. I really was upset, and it's interesting because the cards really was picking up that same energy. But there's so much jealousy, envy, and projection that is in the collective right now. You know, we have a full moon that's coming up in a few days, and just protect yourself. Don't get caught up in, oh, people are attacking, because act like none of it even exists, because the enemy cannot win. These entities can't survive if you don't feed it energy. Just act like it's not there. Act like it doesn't even exist. Be so focused on yourself, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, your daily routines and habits that you can't even hardly tell when there is an attack coming your way. If you're constantly in motion and you're not standing stuck, still and stagnant, then those spiritual attacks, they won't affect you the same way. You're moving and shaking in the spirit realm, but make sure that here on the earth plane, you're doing the same thing. Be active, go out, explore, enjoy yourself. Don't sit and allow yourself to be idle, where people can constantly send the evil eye towards you and project their own negative feelings, thoughts, and mental anguish towards you. That's not your fault. And what they think is not your business either. You have great things coming in for you, and the enemy is trying so hard to convince you that you don't. The devil is a lie. Okay? You did not work hard and go through all of these hardships and all of these hard knocks for you not to be rewarded with whatever is due to you. And I don't know about you, but I don't need to be recognized. I just want my rewards. You don't have to recognize me. As long as it recognizes me, I could care less about recognition.
I cannot.
So, again, love you guys. Always go within so that you never go without. Please.
All right, family. I hope y'all understand now that if you got a message out of that. Y'all know if y'all not subscribed to her, go to subscribe, like, share, leave a comment.